Welcome to another episode of the Talking Shop podcast. I am your co-host, Josh from Grand Slam, live on location at Grand Slam. You'll notice this is not a green screen behind me. And Michael from Medium Rare Cards. What's up?
I like the background. I like you doing this on location. It looks good. I think what you should do is just build one of those at the house and just fill it full of wax.
I could fill it full of empty boxes.
There you go.
If people open stuff.
How was your weekend?
Weekend was really good. The store was really busy. We had trade night Saturday night. We'll talk about that.
Yep.
We now know what it feels like to be a sardine after trade night. So
my goodness.
Yep.
We did it. Our youngest turned 9 this weekend, and we took her to iFly in Concord. Have you ever done this thing where it simulates? There goes my card from the vault. It simulates jumping out of an airplane.
I've seen it. I've never done it. No.
It's awesome. I didn't do it, but we had let her and her friend do it. It's a blast. Don't blink because you'll miss it, but it's a blast. So we did that on Friday, and then Saturday. What's that?
They don't give you a whole lot of time in that tube, or is that what you mean?
Not a lot. So bring your checkbook and a good attitude, but it's fun. It's fun. Happy birthday, Piper. And then Saturday went up to the Hickory card show.
I'm jealous. That's one of my favorite shows, and I didn't get to go.
It was busy. It was super busy, all around busy, just because this is so. If you haven't been to the Hickory card show, sometimes it's just the card show, and then sometimes it's the card show and the toy show,
which I like,
which brings a whole different crowd. It's a similar crowd, it's just a different crowd. So it was nuts. Here's the interesting thing, Josh. Usually that Hickory show has the entire floor taken up.
Yeah.
It's the first time in 2 years I saw it to where it was probably 2 full basketball courts of the floor. They didn't even have tables set up.
Oh, so I could have called late and got tables, maybe even. I'm sure.
Not you probably could have, but it was a smart move, because what it did is it compressed the traffic, and it seemed, and it was very, very busy, and there was a buzz in the air. So I think the hobby tends to do this after the holidays, sort of that we're finished buying stuff for everybody else. I'm going to go buy myself some cards. So it was nice. And then this week I'm setting up. I didn't set up at this show. I'll set up in Salisbury. It's a 2-day show. So come see me in Salisbury.
Both days? You're going to be there both days?
Both days, Saturday and Sunday. You going to come out? Probably not.
Probably not. Getting away from this store on Saturday is like, the boom with Pokemon. Like yesterday was Martin Luther King Day, and we had plans to kind of get next door rolling, and it was nonstop pandemonium in here for a Monday because everyone was off work. And so our Saturdays are always like that, just Pokemon World and lots of young collectors on the sports side with Dad. So
speaking of pandemonium, trade night was, dare I say, bananas. it was popping. I'm not sure what was in the air. Maybe some of this pent up demand that I was talking about at the show, but it was hot. How did you take in all the traffic?
I was running next door. Like I would go in the back and get customers' break cards and stuff like that. And then I'd walk back through the curtain and it was like I couldn't even get to where I was going. It was so many people. So I think I have a solution for that for next trade night. I don't want to say anything until I can confirm, but I've got a couple ideas. So if you're thinking I might not go to next trade night, it was just too crowded, I have the solution, and next trade night will be different and even better because of it. So stay tuned for that.
You're booking the Spectrum Arena? Is that what's happening?
We probably could have filled it that night. There were so many people. I mean, I need to send you a picture, so I'm going to post it online.
Absolutely.
So people can see.
We'll hammer out those details and hopefully have those details out for everybody. So
Curtis is chiming in on the chat. He wants me to give away that secret. I can't give it away yet because I'm not confirmed 100% I can do it, but he's also chimed in about Tom Brady going to the place that I think he's going to go to. We'll talk about that shortly.
Yes, we will, Curtis. Thank you for chiming in. Hang in there. We will talk about that. But first, let me do a quick run. Do you want to say anything else about trade night? Did you notice anything moving? Did you notice anything? I was sort of pinned behind the counter doing grading stuff, taking in submissions for grading. So I did not get to walk around the shop too much, but what did you get asked for, and what was sort of the vibe card wise?
So it was almost so busy that it hindered it, and I'm gonna solve that for the next time because I couldn't really comfortably make the rounds to view some stuff because I really had the intentions of buying some more singles than I did, and so that was my only take. It was just, and others probably had that same feeling, but I did have some people message me afterwards saying it was the first time they had been. They had a blast. They can't wait to come back, and so
awesome.
It's Cobb's calling us ladies. What's up? It's Cobb.
What's up? It's Cobb. And Curtis, you mentioned a 20-second video of the card up at Hickory. And
no, he's talking trade night. In fact,
trade night.
Believe it or not, in all the pandemonium, I think I did see Curtis taking that video. I just saw the phone pan around.
Well, before we go into what Curtis was talking about Tom Brady, let me just do a quick rundown. And this is our show format for you guys who are just showing up for the first time. This is sort of the format that we follow. We do an opening rip. This is part of the opening rip. Then we talk about what's hitting the shelves right behind Josh this week. Behind the counter, this week we're going to be talking about Grand Slam grading and sort of any sort of updates, and maybe take some questions if you guys have any about grading. And then we go and jump into hobby advice and listener questions. We've got a couple, and if you have a couple, please drop them into the chat. Card from the vault. What's happening next week as far as product? And then, as usual, we wrap things up with crazy stat of the week. But first, your man Brady.
It wasn't a fun night. But
honestly, I didn't watch any of it. What happened?
It looked like the Cowboys offense was at practice running 7-on-7 drills. Like they were just open. The Buccaneers defense was really bad. Like usual, the Buccaneers had no run game. And without any run game, and you're going against Micah Parsons and several others, they just pinned their ears back. Brady had very little time to throw. Brady's one of the fastest to get the ball out. And when he's getting sacked, there's a problem there. So the offensive line is trash. The running game is trash. The defense is trash. And you take all that into consideration, Brady's not going to look good. And that's what happened. So.
Well, not a lot of people would look good. But speaking of Brady, we have kicked around this subject before. But if you had to put a place for him to land, that would be the best for him. And guys in the chat, if you guys want to give your take on it, and then I'm going to post Curtis's question or comment. If you had to pick what was best for him, where would it be? And if you had to pick what would be best for the hobby, where would it be?
Yeah. So
Curtis is saying that Brady going to the Raiders.
Yeah,
why would they
mine.
Yep.
That's my take, because Josh McDaniels is there. They've got a long relationship. They've got Josh Jacobs, who I think led the league in rushing yards, right? He was the rushing leader in the NFL. So they have a run game, which Tampa Bay has. They were the last in running the football. So now you got the best, if not one of the best running backs in all of football. If you have a strong running game, that probably means your offensive line is pretty good. You got Devontae Adams. You got a couple other little studs for receivers. Is it the best place geographically and division-wise? No, it's not. There's the rumors of Miami. There was kind of maybe a almost done deal there. It's a weaker division, blah, blah, blah. But, gun to my head, I'm thinking – yeah, but Steven says Jacob wants out. That's true, but maybe if Jacobs knows Brady's his quarterback for a season, he might be willing to stay. Here's the best for the card industry. Him and Gronk and Edelman say, let's sign 1-year deals and go back to New England and wrap this thing up. If that's the case, there's a good chance Josh McDaniels doesn't keep his Raiders job. Maybe he goes back to offensive coordinate. I've heard Jets get kicked around. Like, if anyone thinks this dude's hanging it up, I would be shocked. He doesn't want to go out with people thinking the Buccaneers' problems were his, because they weren't. There were way too many other problems besides Brady on that team. So he's smart. He sits back and says, what team is loaded? It's got a good offensive line and a running game, because Brady thrives off play action. And Gronk seems to be waiting in the wings. I almost feel like I did hear a rumor, and I have to be careful about this, but there was a rumor that Al Davis Jr., the Raiders owner, had a deal, pretty much a done deal for him and Gronk before the beginning of this year, a package deal for those two to come on for 1 year. And Gruden said no again. Rumor. We hear you can't believe it just because you heard it on the internet. But
right.
If that's the case, that leads even to a stronger chance of the Raiders. It's also paired with the fact that the Raiders have openly said, we're going to go hard after Tom Brady. Right. And if you scroll up to one of the comments, I think it was Curtis maybe saying, why would they let a good quarterback like Derek Carr go if they didn't have some other idea? Rodgers might.
What do you mean? They've got Jarrett Stidham now. He's their guy, right?
It's kind of like they feel like they'll probably just kind of do what they do with Derek Carr with Jarrett Stidham, just kind of be an okay team. I don't know. Sometimes you do all this speculation and then he signs with the Denver Broncos and you're like, huh? Like The Tampa Bay Buccaneers came out of left field for me 2 years ago. So as long as he's playing, I'm happy.
Let me before I give my take, let me catch up on some comments. Curtis talking about he's laughing. I think he's laughing at you for some reason.
The selfie video or the video.
There you go. Yes, it was a bad. Apparently, I didn't see the game, but it was a bad side of the ball for Tom Brady. Hello, Steven. George, what's up? Vegas back with Daniels, where he can run the show. So another vote for Las Vegas. Just catching up on these guys. Thanks for chiming in, guys. Jets will be his best spot.
Steven says it's the best place. That's where his new girl lives. Yeah. That'd be interesting if that's the case. And here he goes. He confirmed that that was true. He said he brokered the deal. Then Gronk admitted it on ESPN. So that's probably where I'd heard it. So
here's my take, and it's completely uneducated and just intuitive. I don't think Brady wants anything to do with this young crop of quarterbacks in the AFC. Patrick Mahomes is the oldest quarterback in the AFC playoffs. That's got to be frightening. That's got to be on Brady's mind. It has to be. If he doesn't have to play those guys all season long and can rally a team around him for one playoff push and then beat one of these young bucks in one game at a hopefully neutral field, that's his best shot. I don't think he wants any part of these young guns in the AFC.
So that puts him in the NFC then.
Yep.
Which is smart. I think that's kind of like, Tampa Bay. He probably had a pretty easy road to the Super Bowl if they could have got their crap together. But so then where do you put him in the NFC then?
I have no clue. I don't know enough about how these teams are structured. He is going to need a great defense and like you said, a running game that takes some pressure off and sets up his play action. So I don't know who that is in the NFC other than San Francisco. And then look, we've got Curtis chiming in again. Thank you, Curtis. The Commanders. Why not, right? It's Cobb honestly wish they would have kept everything the way it was and stayed with the Pats. Yes, that would have been storybook.
Yeah,
Francisco.
The only reason I haven't, me, if you've listened to me for any period of time, you know that I've been saying San Fran. I had heard a report though that the Shanahans don't want him, right. And then you add Brock Purdy to the mix. The dude looks like the future there. I just don't think they want to stunt Trey or Brock or any of these other guys. If it was like I got Jimmy G or we can make a run with Brady for a year, I think it's a no-brainer. But if the Shanahans don't want him there, and now they've discovered Brock Purdy, who, man, looks good again. If this dude, I'd be shocked if they get beat by the Cowboys. That could be their future right there.
Let me ask you this, and this dovetails into the second half of this, or just the half that I care about, because Brady's going to be okay, right? We don't have to worry about what's the best for him. But as far as the hobby, if it had to be in the NFC, who do you think the biggest football market in the NFC is?
Well, wouldn't it be the Cowboys?
It would be the Cowboys, right?
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to the Cowboys.
I never say never when you're dealing with Jerry Jones. Jerry likes Dak, though.
He does.
He loves him some Dak.
He does. So what's the second largest? Because Brady, for this to work out for Brady and be great for the hobby, it's got to be a big market team.
Sure.
Like a big market team. So there's Dallas. There's New York.
Boy, wouldn't that be a Brett Favre to the Vikings? But Daniel Jones, I'm telling you that coach they have is a quarterback whisperer.
Yep. Oh, Facebook user. He's gonna retire. Don't tell Josh that. Josh is gonna just turn his camera off and leave. Yeah. Philly already has a QB.
There's no way Brady, now single Brady, says, you know what? I want that to be my last game. Not a glimmer, especially when there's strong teams that are going to beg for him. They're going to really go hard after him.
Yeah, but he's going to want a big market. And my little brain, I can't think of a big market in the NFC that would be that has what he needs to be successful. It's not Atlanta, it's not New Orleans. LA. Imagine him in a Rams uniform.
They do need a quarterback.
That's a big market. We'll see.
If Steven's right here, he says he's not single. By single, I just mean not married. He bought a house in Vegas to be near that model he's dating. Yeah, I saw a picture. I hope that's true, because I think the Raiders are a great fit for him, despite being in the AFC.
Curtis, Arizona. Nice weather, right?
Ed says retire. Count on it.
Oh,
Ed, shame on you.
Thank you, Ed.
Nancy smacked some sense into this man.
Thank you, Ed, for a lukewarm take of what everybody wishes would happen, including everybody that Brady is wanting to beat again next year.
I think it's safe to say that, like with Aaron Rodgers, we don't know all the ins and outs of everything, and we don't know the things that go into this. Like I said, I wouldn't have guessed Tampa Bay in 100 years 2 years ago. So,
Right.
it makes sense when it all gets said and done, but I would never have guessed that. So,
right.
These guys have houses all over the country. So,
yeah, everybody buys a house in Florida because of the income tax. That's what they.
Yeah,
that's what
and I
they
think
do.
Vegas too, right? Isn't Vegas a good tax place to live? I could be wrong on that, but I thought.
Oh, I don't know. You couldn't pay me. You couldn't pay me $1 billion to live in Las Vegas.
Yeah, but you'd have to live down in the nice neighborhood. Yeah, you couldn't pay me $1 million to live in LA, but there's some pretty nice places in LA that these guys want to live. So
right, Lamar will be a Panther next year.
That's probably what we should have been talking about. Is the Lamar Jackson stuff is probably more intriguing than the Brady stuff, but
I don't know, man. I don't know.
It will be fun off season. That's going to be good, and it'll be good for the hobby. It'll be good for the hobby. There's always a little spike. Aaron Rodgers goes somewhere else. There'll be a little interest in his stuff. Just like, Russell Wilson went to the Broncos and we all went and bought his cards overpriced. But I'm not giving up complete hope there. I think the Broncos with a new coach and, Javonte back, I think they could still do something. So
I agree. It at the very least will be very interesting. And I think it's going to be he's probably going to want to jump on this early before everybody else makes a decision, right?
I hope.
I mean, he's going to want to make this call, and then Rodgers and Lamar Jackson and whoever else falls into place. So I think he's going to want to be the domino that falls. Okay, where's a hot take? I need a hot take. Is your hot take going to be Las Vegas?
Yeah, gun to my head, I'm saying Las Vegas. I will tell Ed if he retires, I'm giving Ed a $29.99 break credit. You heard it here first.
You heard it here. I'm going to say he goes to the NFC. I don't know where, but I think it would be super cool to see him in LA, an LA Ram.
That would be really cool.
It'd be cool. All right, Josh, what is hitting the shelves behind you this week at Grand Slam?
So let me just back a hair up. Spectra came out last week, so we do have this in store. I can't remember if we showed that off last break, but still got some of that on the shelf. We're filling a box break of it by divisions, only 8 spots. Every spot gets a random division. It's over on the break page right now, so it's got a few spots left. And so I saw the Brady to the Lions. That would be interesting. Whoever said the GOAT is done is wrong.
That would be your buddy Ed.
Yeah, he said he'll take my bet. We need to have it. We need to have a reverse though. So if Brady doesn't retire, Ed, when that moment is announced via ESPN, when he signs with another team or he's due to sign, you have to get a spot in the next break I post.
Boom.
The next $30 break I post. We don't want to.
There you go.
That's a good bet. So this arrived today for tomorrow. Immaculate Basketball. Get your credit cards out for that one. That's expensive.
Talk about bringing your checkbook and a good attitude, right?
Yeah, that's for the guys with bigger cojones than I have.
Yeah.
So,
and for you young guys, like it's Cobb, a checkbook is this paper thing, and you write down who you're going to give money to, and you have to sign it, and you have to write the number of the money that you want to send them. It's super cool. You should try it. It's Cobb. Since you probably never written a check in your life.
And it's not made out of rubber or it'll bounce.
That's right. Absolutely.
Ed, I like it. Ed says he'll take a $130 break spot if he doesn't.
Boom. That's what you call raising the stakes. So there's Immaculate Basketball, and then another one, which is high end, Impeccable Football.
Yep. So maybe we'll have that. I can't confirm yet.
Oh, that's right. Sorry about
Sometimes impeccable and flawless, like those get to be that high end price that the customer base gets really slim, especially post COVID. And so we tread very carefully on some of those. We can take that same amount for one box and buy a case of something that we can turn and turn. So those do release this week. I can't guarantee we'll have them. There is a chance we will. But Also this week is Topps Finest Baseball, which is
Love
always
that
a
set.
seller. We've got a lot of that coming. I already have some customers waiting for that product. So yeah, other than that, we're in a little bit of a football hobby lull until Illusions comes out at the end of this month.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, that's what you get for selling out of Mosaic.
Mosaic so good. Last box a customer bought, and it had a Brock Purdy autograph in it. So it's like a $700 card right now.
There you go. So It's Cobb was asking me about Immaculate WWE.
Yeah, I don't even know. Oh, that comes out in February.
Yep.
There's a chance, maybe. You know me. I like my WWE. Ed, I think that's Ed because it's Facebook user. He got hit by a tornado last week, and they are still cleaning up. Don't worry, all of his cards are fine. Whew. Hopefully, your priceless valuables, your family valuables are intact as well, and you and Nancy.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, Nancy doesn't have a scratch on her.
So that is wow. Tree is still in the garage. Hate to hear that. Like Josh said, hopefully everybody's okay. Curtis, we didn't even have to prime you for that. This is what we call
segue time.
A segue, a professional segue. We're talking about Grand Slam grading. That's like that really
Grand Slam grading submissions. Although Grand Slam grading sounds better, we kicked this idea around, but we're not doing the grading, so we have to be very careful that we don't fool people. But we are now accepting customer cards to send off to grade, so we will do all the work for you. Michael, throw up on screen, not literally, but will you put up a picture of the office we have next door? So this is right next door, right here at the shop. If you come in and you want to submit some cards for grading, we will take you to this office where you can sit down and choose which company you want to grade the cards with and what service level you want to send, and if you even should send some. So we were taking cards trade night. We took a batch of cards from customers, and then yesterday and today we've had customers bring cards in to drop off to be graded. We charge a couple bucks on top of the grading company's price. So if the grading company is asking $18, we will charge $20. If there'll be a small fee, like $1, if we need to, because these cards have to be sent in certain cases, submission sleeves. And so if you drop them off in top loaders, that's fine. We'll carefully take them out, put them in the proper sleeves. We'll charge you a tiny little bit for that. We'll do all the work. You don't pay anything up front. You'll pay when the cards come back. And you can submit to pretty much whatever grading company you want. Obviously, CGC, help me out, Michael. I don't think that's a card submission, right? Is he thinking CSG? Isn't CGC the comics, or
that is the comic side of CSG? So CSG is the sports side of things. CCG is and this is CGC. CCG, I think, is the comic book side of things. So
CGC does cards. So Steven, we are not, I haven't actually even in 5 years seen a sports card in a CGC holder. So that's probably why we're not going to focus there, but probably more on the TCG side maybe, but yeah, it'll be PSA. We've got one or two going to Beckett today.
I stand corrected. Let me jump in. Steven is right. CGC is the comic book side of CSG. They do TCG games. Is everybody getting acronymed to death now? They do. They do Pokemon. I think they do Marvel. So yes, Steven, you are right. Thank you for getting us straight there. So, but yes, I believe if you send to CSG or a CSG submission, it gets over to the CGC side, but I am not sure. I've never submitted personally to the CGC side of things. I do know that if you're doing personal submissions to CSG, that little membership they have these membership tiers. that those membership tiers go across all their brands. So you don't have to have a membership to CSG and then one for CGC. It goes all the way across. So I'm not sure how those Marvel and Pokemon cards find their way magically over to that side of the building, but I'm sure we will figure that out.
Yep. But we do have like our first orders for PSA, Beckett, SGC, GMA. We'll talk about them later. That's just for me personally. Yeah. So whatever company we need to submit through, we will. So one Facebook user said, "Are we using Palmetto?" So Palmetto are our friends down in Lexington. They are who we used to submit our cards with. And what we would do is, us personally at Grand Slam, my employees, we would give cards to Palmetto, and Palmetto would submit them to the grading companies, and then they would let us know when they come back. So we are going to take the place of Palmetto up here, and you're going to give your cards to us, and we'll send them to. So we're going to become Palmetto up here in essence. We're not going to. Previously, customers would drop cards off with us, and then we would get them to Palmetto, and then Palmetto would get them to the. So we're just taking that out. We're going to do it ourselves. Essentially, charge the same price and try to do as good a job as they do.
So we never got to the question that kicked this whole section off is there a minimum amount of cards for a bulk PSA submission?
So there is, and that's the beauty of submitting through us or through Palmetto is we'll have enough cards based on other customer submissions to meet that minimum requirement for bulk submissions. So if you were going to sit down at your computer and submit cards through bulk submission, I think the minimum is 20 cards.
It is 20 cards.
So you don't have to worry about that submitting through us. If you want to drop 2 off and send them through bulk, we'll add them to 18 others or more than that of our own that are going out anyway, and they'll be submitted that way. So you could mail cards to us for sure. If that's Ed, whoever is asking that, sure. Just ensure the package when it comes to us, because from here to the grading company and back, it'll be taken care of by us, but I can't vouch for anything that you send to us. So,
and that is important.
If you don't want to submit them just straight to the grading company yourself, there's not a big benefit from going through us, except for the convenience. Like, that's why I loved using Palmetto, because I could hand them a stack of cards and say, "Here, take care of them and let me know when they're back, and tell me what I owe you when they're back." And so that's the beauty of subbing through another company. We do all the work, and you just drop them off and wait for the cards to come back. So
it's Cobb. I still need help with that stuff. What do you mean by that stuff? And before you let us know that, I do want to chime in on that. If you have not done a personal submission through a grading company, I would suggest trying it, and then you will feel the ease of going through a group submitter.
Oh, okay, you think it'll help us? All right, yeah.
Because it will help. Because it is. If you've got a stack of cards you're entering, then you got to research what card they are. You've got to put them in the one touch or the submission. Or the not the one touch, the
submission sleeve.
Submission sleeve sounds like a wrestling thing. A submission sleeve. It is very convenient, and Josh brought it up. If you only have 5 cards,
bye Ed.
We'll see you, Ed. If you only have 5 cards, then send 5 cards through the Grand Slam grading submissions, and you don't have to hit that 20 card threshold, which is a lot of cards. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
if I really had to try to find 20 cards that I thought were gonna had a chance at a 10, that'd be tough. And if you saw some of my submissions coming back from Palmetto lately, you'd think that I needed more glasses. You got to
think too, if you have 5 cards and you want to submit them, and then you got to find 15 more to hit bulk, you're looking at a $400 plus bill.
Absolutely.
Just to get those 5 you really want graded. So right. It's Cobb. I will reach out to you very soon. I have been I think I'm working on like 10 days straight down at the shop. I haven't had a day off. So I've just been super busy. When I go home, I try to do family stuff. So, but I'll be talking to you soon, Jacob Mackey. So even better than a downloadable form, we are going to have a spot on our website you can click and go to and enter in all the cards that you're submitting and then ship the cards to us. And you've already done part of the work for us. And there's records. There would be a record keeping part of it. And then we enter them into the grading company's website. So stay tuned for that. We're literally like 2 days running with this service, and we've already had a good turnout after 2 days, and we haven't really advertised it that much. So we're getting this first week's system down, and then we're rocking and rolling. But we've got someone in that office all the time able to sit down and take your cards and help you decide what needs to be graded. So.
Fantastic. Well, I've got a couple questions, listener questions, and I'm going to put those up on the screen. If you guys have any specific questions for us, please let us know. Question number one, again, a nice professional segue. How do I prep my cards for grading? Josh, how do you prep cards for grading? And then I'm going to chime in.
Yeah, I personally, so I'll usually go through my Brady stuff each time I want to submit something and find something worth submitting. First, I look at the four hot spots: surface, corners, edges, and centering. And first would be centering. I look at the card before I even pick it up. If it looks well centered, then I start digging in on those corners, all four corners, edges, and surface. Look for scratches. Once I deem that this is good enough to get a 9 or a 9 at least, and I'm hoping for a 10, then I will clean the surface with a microfiber cloth, especially if it's chrome. Nothing worse than getting a sub back from a grading company. It's permanently encased in a plastic welded case, and it's got a fingerprint on the card. It'll drive you insane, and you won't want to display it. So I make sure that that's all cleaned up. I put it in a penny sleeve. Here's something I heard from Palmetto, which really, when you're putting a card in the sleeve, you always put it in this little right sleeve first, and that bottom left corner is the most damaged corner in all of sports card history because when it's going into the sleeve. So take some scissors and cut the sleeve. If you watch me break a lot of the times, I'll take a penny sleeve like this. I'll stick a finger in it, and I just do that. And now it's nice and wide. If you're seeing on the thing, and then a card, you can literally slide it in from the side. Corners never touch, and I do that. So I do that, and then to send it to one of the grading companies, you put it in a submission sleeve, which is the little flexible, not quite stiff as a top loader. Card saver. Thank you. So put it in a card saver, then it's ready to go. So make sure it's clean. Make sure it's got a shot at a 10, unless it's an older card that you're not expecting a 10, and clean that surface. Your turn. What do you do different?
So I do all that. If it's a card that I have not pack pulled, if it's a card I've purchased at a show, or if it's a card that I've purchased off of eBay, it comes out of the sleeve that I got it into a fresh sleeve after I've done everything that you've coached everybody to do.
For sure.
And then a brand new card saver. Or a card saver, a gently used card saver. I'm not going to send this thing off. And you ever see those top loaders that are so old they've turned like yellow?
Oh yeah.
Those go in the trash. I don't send those off to grading and that. I try to just keep everything clean, keep everything pristine. I'm a nut when it comes to like liquids on my desk. I don't have anything open liquids near my desk, and a nice microfiber cloth. Even if it's an older, and it doesn't even have to be chrome. It could be a paper card. Give it a good wipe down. You're not going to want to soak this thing. And there's cleaning cards, and then there's altering cards. You never want to get to the point where you're altering these cards, because that's just frowned upon, and it'll come back in a bad way.
You remember what Aaron from Palmetto told us? He said, when you're submitting this card, think of it as like, you're your card is going for an interview, or like when you go for an interview, you don't want to be, you want to put your best appearance forward. So that's, again, brand new penny sleeve, brand new card saver, clean card. You want this thing to look like $1 million when they first lay eyes on it. You can't tell me that doesn't play a little bit into someone's head. Mackie says Amazon offers a card cleaning submission kit, everything you need. Actually, there is Kurt's Card Care is someone are going to be dealing with. We're going to order some kits to have here at the store that has kind of all the little essential tools you need for cleaning scratches and fingerprints and working corners down, because a lot of people don't know that one black Disco Zion that we had pulled a couple of years ago that sold at auction for $111,000. It got submitted through Palmetto to PSA and it got a 10. And Aaron told me from his own mouth that it had a corner issue that he worked on and got that corner to lay down enough to
interesting
to get a PSA 10. So that would have been worth, that little work, that was probably a $40,000-$50,000 corner laying down job that they did on that card to get it from a PSA 9 to a 10.
Nice.
At least $20,000 maybe. You got to think what a 9 would have sold for considerably less. So,
oh yeah.
Also, we had a Cade Cunningham Kaboom pulled here in the shop, and it had one corner issue. The customer worked that corner down. It can be done. Submitted it. It got a 10, and he sold it at the National. So that he pulled from this shop and got several. I want to say 4,000 or 6,000, something crazy. Got a PSA 10 out of a Cade Cunningham Kaboom. So just because it's got a little corner issue doesn't mean it can't be worked on and repaired well enough to get a 10. So
awesome. Second question, and then if we have time, we'll go to the third question. Josh and Michael, I've been trying to sell my cards, I'm assuming on eBay, and trying to put them up, I'm assuming on eBay, but they just don't sell. Help.
So I'll equate this to a story I had in the shoe business when I was in the shoe business. So I had my own shoe store up in Missouri, and I was I was the first store or person to put Skechers shape-ups on eBay. And I started selling them on eBay. And I forget what we were selling them at, $69.99 a pair or something. And I would sell 4 or 5 or 6 throughout the day. We'd go home. I'd go to sleep. I'd wake up in the morning and be like, oh, man, 4 more sold while I was sleeping. This was just awesome. And then we'd go and we'd package them up. And while those were packaging up, all of a sudden, one day, Shape-Up stopped selling on eBay. And I said, why can't I sell a Skechers Shape-Up on eBay? We were selling 10 a day, down to nothing. Well, I went and looked, and one of my friends who had a shoe store that was part of the same private company started putting Skechers Shape-Ups on eBay, and his were $69 or $68.99. That $1 difference, and it was like a water faucet. It shut off. So moral of the story is, if you're the highest priced, you're going to notice a difference there. You can be maybe a little bit higher. I would say your eBay feedback and your overall score will affect. So you can sometimes fetch a little bit of a premium if you have a really good track record. People will pay a couple dollars more for something based on that. Sometimes it's based on location. I'm guilty of filtering certain items, not necessarily sports cards, but sometimes by closest location because I'm impatient and I want that card to get to me fast. So if it's coming from California or if it's coming from Tennessee, I'm going to spend a couple bucks more personally if it's coming from Tennessee. So I would just say the way you present your cards, it could be your pictures are not crispy and clear. I'm not buying any card for any price if that picture is blurry, if I don't get to see the front and back. But most of the time it's price. You're just maybe significantly higher or noticeably higher, or you've got 2 feedback. People get really nervous with people with really low feedback. So I'm sure I missed a few things, but those are the things that jump out at me.
Yeah, for me, I would have led with the photos. Look, guys, we're all carrying around these things. The cameras on our phones are as good of a camera as that you could find in the world. I mean, some of these camera phones are really, really good.
Yep.
If you think that you're still having issues, even if you're using a nice camera phone, invest in some lighting. Really, you would be shocked at how good a photo you could take with a bad camera if your lighting's great. So invest in an LED light that you can shine, maybe even a shadow box or a light box. They're like
get a card stand.
Nice
like
card
that.
stand. Don't lay it down. Josh is right. In sales talk, in sales speak, having the lowest price is they call that getting to the front of the line. And if you're not sure what to price it at and you really want to sell the card quick, just start it at 99 cents and open up the bidding. Sometimes we have to be reminded that we don't control the market. The buyer controls the market. These pieces of cardboard with dudes on them are only worth as much as somebody is willing to pay for them. So, and that, look, it only takes, for a buy it now, it only takes one. It only takes that one collector. I'm sitting on this. This is my card from the vault. Is this Josh Bell 101? There's a Josh Bell collector out there who's going to want to pay whatever I put on there as long as it's reasonable. No one else. If you don't care about Josh Bell, you don't care about a 101 Stadium Club card. It's just not going to happen. Now, are there more people that are interested in a Luka Silver PSA 9? Yes. That is a high demand, high cost card. Well, high-ish card. At the peak, it was unbelievable. But the market's going to decide, and so
that is one way to guarantee your sale. Just run the auction.
Run the auction, and so the auction's going to tell you that. But the auction, you're going to need two people to drive that price up. The worst feeling in the world is watching an auction on eBay that you have a card up and there's one bidder, because there's nobody for that person to get in a urinating contest over. I mean, there's no fight.
You're hoping there's 2 or 3 snipers waiting in the wings for that last 10 seconds.
You just want one. All right, I think we have one more. Hopefully that helps to whoever submitted that question on selling that card.
I've said this too. When you do the buy it now or best offer, and you're going to buy it now, you're going to put a crazy high price just so no one snags it and you can field some offers. If your buy it now price is exorbitantly too high, you may not get any offers because people think, well,
it becomes invisible at that point.
Yeah. So keep that offer high enough that it doesn't get snagged at that, but low enough people still think they have a shot.
And one last thing on this. If you're not sure and you don't want to deal with the hassle, find a consignment, an eBay consigner.
Yep.
PC sports cards up in New York. There's other consigners.
Grand Slam, stay tuned. That's will be another announcement in probably another week or two. But
all kinds of segues. But because what happens is we get wrapped around the axle, or we get our feelings hurt. We get attached to our cards, and we think because they're our cards, obviously our Josh Allen rookie is going to be worth more than somebody else's Josh Allen rookie because we spent our money buying it, finding it, grading it, so it's going to be worth more. But it's not, because it's just like the other PSA 10 over there. Yeah. So going through a consignment shop to get these things moved sort of detaches you from the process, and you're able to make better decisions.
And there's a reason that some of those big eBay consigners like PWCC and some of the others, their cards do fetch a premium. People will pay more because they see, they've got 100,000 feedback. Everyone is comfortable buying from these people. I don't have to worry. They'll pay a premium for it. So maybe that's the trick. You're going to give a small percentage to have someone consign it, but they're going to fetch that much more of a percentage anyway by being a big seller. So
Mackie's saying shipping gets me if I buy a common and don't want to pay $5. I like the eBay shipping. And that's a great point.
Shipping. I'm a sucker for, I posted a couple bucks higher and then do free shipping.
Yeah.
and that has always worked well for me.
Absolutely. All right, final question before we go to card from the vault. Let me get this posted real quick. Sorry, I didn't prepare this before the show.
While you're doing that, Steven said, HGA, I love the custom slabs for PC cards. So, Steven, a couple of weeks ago, we had the CEO of HGA on this podcast, and we'll definitely be submitting to them. They're not one of the top 5 companies right now, but they are a company that if a customer of ours would like something submitted to them, we will be doing that as well. So.
Last question.
What
should I do with my T-Law and Herbert cards?
Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert. So,
what a game.
How bad do you need money? If you don't need the money, sit on them. Keep in mind, again, Herbert's rookie was 2020, and it was printed before the COVID boom or the surge of new customers to the point where these companies have to print a lot more to keep up with demand because there's a lot more buyers now. So Herbert's base cards, in my opinion, and I think this is back upable, but there's just not going to be as many Herbert base Prism rookies as there will be Trevor Lawrence, because with Trevor Lawrence, they're printing Prism to keep up with the demand. So the numbered to 25s and the 101s, there's only going to be 25 of those, and the numbered to 99s, there's only going to be, but for the base cards, be really careful with cards 2021 and newer, because they printed a lot of those base cards, which, I mean, look at Mahomes and Josh Allen's rated rookies as opposed to some of the other rated rookies. There's just not as many of them out there because they weren't printing to keep up with the demand back in 2017, 18, 19, and 20 like they do now. So don't bank on the base card stuff. We've talked about this way long ago, but the base cards are going to be relegated to really tight budgets and for kids. And everyone will want a PSA 10 Trevor Lawrence base Prism in their collection. You're just not going to pay a fortune for it, and you're never going to sell it for a fortune. But the numbered to 49 one, different story. Even the number to 199 one, different story. So Herbert and T-Law look like they're going to have nice, long careers. I wouldn't panic on either one. Now is probably the time to sell Trevor if you're in it for the short game. I would love for them to go the distance. I just don't see it happening. And so ride that high of right now or hold, because Trevor will be a long-term great quarterback. And when these get really hard to find in 5 or 6 years, where you can walk into a card shop now and find a dozen Trevor Lawrence rookie cards in the case, can't find as many T-Laws or Herberts or Mahomeses or Allens. And so something to think about. I would think Lawrence stuff is pretty high right now.
So this is exactly my play for the weekend. I'm selling any T-Law in order to buy Herbert.
Sure.
That's what I'm doing. That's the play for me. I think both of them are extremely talented. Both of them are extremely marketable. You can't go wrong. I wish one of them was in the NFC, and then they could just go Manning Brady for the next 10 years, but that's just not going to happen unless somebody gets traded. Mackey's saying sit, buy low, sell high, bought a Herbert. PSA 9, flip it next season when he's hot. I think both these guys are going to be hot. No matter what happens, the expectation has been set, and in many ways the expectation has been exceeded. So they're just going to keep raising the bar.
And you got to think, you're safe sitting on about 5 guys: Herbert, Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, probably Trevor.
Yep.
And the Jalen Hurts fans will, I don't know what it is. I'm just like, it's hard to be sold on Hurts yet, but
we'll see.
I'll be happy to be proven wrong. That just makes that 2020 class that much more desirable.
Everybody just follow what Josh said and just ignore Justin Fields so his prices go down so that I can buy some more of his cards.
I'm not sold, man. I need every one of those other quarterbacks I just listed can run if need be. has mobility, but they're not runners first. Lamar and Justin, all these guys are
Kyler. Yep.
They're runners first, and I'm telling you, that's just not long-term success.
Nope.
So I hope I'm wrong. All it takes is for Hurts to just, Hurts is he's still more of a passer, but all it takes is for these guys to just to mature in the passing game, and then they're untouchable. They're unstoppable.
Josh, do you have a card from the vault?
I do.
You have like a couple thousand cards from the vault.
It's not a vault, but this is a trade night pickup that I'm going to. Oh, I got to give So I told Michael pregame that I fell in love with GMA. I know GMA has a really bad reputation. They give out 10s like candy. So a GMA 10 is really like a base card, a raw card. But I really love these new slabs of theirs. And so that's where I'm going to send this card. I picked it up at trade night. I just fell in love with it. I've teased that this would be my next PC when Brady retires, although I'll still keep PCing him because they'll keep making his cards. But this is my card from the vault. It's not expensive.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's a Mahomes insert out of 2021 Optic. It's called Splitting Image. The Splitting Image Patrick Mahomes. It's not numbered. It's just a Contenders Optic. Really cool looking insert.
That'd be a nice set. That'd be a nice set to put together.
Yeah, it would. I'm going to put it in a GMA case just for the just for the looks.
Mackey's saying invest in Pickett, the next TV.
I need another year or two to see Kenny take the Steelers on an upward trajectory, and then I'm all in with you, Mackey.
My card from the vault is
it the bell?
It's the GOAT of tennis. Tennis cards are kind of hot right now, and so before they got any harder, I needed to get my hands on one of these. This is not a big card. It's not a rare card, but it's a card that I needed in the collection.
And
it's a PSA 10.
Nice.
Roger Federer. Thank you, Nathan. Bricks and Cards. He sold me this at the show. Been eyeing this for a couple weeks. Finally pulled the trigger on that. So that's not going anywhere. On my shelves up here, you could see on the top are the GOATs. So I've got like Ben Hogan and Michael Jordan, Tiger. This
Brady.
Guy's going to... Well, I gave you a Brady for your birthday, the only Brady that I had.
Oh, do I have to give you one to put up there?
No. Well, maybe. So Federer will go up there by LT Gray on the GOAT shelf up there. Josh, let's wrap things up or start wrapping things up, closing things out with next week's products. Here I've got Donruss Soccer. That's a maybe or that's a go?
That's a maybe. I should find out soon. I always put in for the order, so we'll see if I get some.
Okay. Illusions Football, and I was confused about this because I thought it was only retail, and you corrected me. That said it used to be only hobby. So will you be getting some Illusions Football coming in?
Yep, that'll be next week.
And it's I think the most improved look-wise as far as products go this year is Mosaic, Panini Mosaic Basketball coming in next week.
Yep.
So finally, a week we're not getting a baseball product. I feel like we've gotten a new baseball product for the last 10 weeks in a row. So we've got Donruss Soccer, maybe Illusions Football, Mosaic Basketball. Any thoughts on those products? You know me, I love Mosaic.
Those are good staple products that will sell really well. There is a product next week called Leaf Exotic Football. I think I did put in for that. Leaf kind of release dates and delivery dates bounce around a little bit, so there's a chance we'll get that as well. It's like one of those cool $100 Leaf hobby boxes. So
nice.
That's another one.
The worst shot in basketball. Love the Fireburst. Yes, that Phoenix product, one of the most underrated products in the hobby. Facebook user, is this Ed again? It could be Ed.
Ed went to bed. Yeah.
Ed went to bed. So other Facebook user, are you guys going to the show this weekend in Salisbury? I am setting up at that show. Come see me, buy some of my cards, or bring some Justin Herbert for me to buy at this show. Or some soccer cards.
Nice.
So that is what's coming to the show. Oh, hey, Matt. come see me. I've got some nice baseball for you to buy. So that was products coming next week. Let's wrap things up. Let's let everybody go here. And here we're in the pregame. We were like, let's keep this kind of short. I want to go home.
Well, we started earlier, so we're ending earlier. So
there we go. Let's wrap things up with crazy stat of the week. I actually did my homework. Yes, I will take that pink Herbert from Drew if he brings it. If it's priced correctly.
That's probably a pink rated rookie? Is that what that is?
Bring it. Crazy stat of the week. Josh, what is your crazy stat of the week?
So we pulled this guy's card in our trade night break, a nice autograph of this card, but Aaron Nola, pitcher for the Phillies, familiar with him? He has thrown 10,000 fastballs in his career. That's not that crazy. That's just the number that he's thrown. 9 of them have been over 96 miles per hour. So not a big, crazy power pitcher. 10,000 pitches. 9 of them, only 9 have been thrown over 96. That's also not a crazy stat. That's pretty common for pitchers of his ability. Here's the crazy stat, though. 3 of those 9 were thrown to none other than his brother, Austin Nola.
Oh, little brother, sibling rivalry, getting the juices flowing.
Man, he had the juices pumping on. So out of 10,000 balls, 3 of the 9 of his fastest were thrown to his brother. So who can figure all these stats out? I need that much free time.
No kidding. Okay, here's mine. I finally got one. I'm guilty of not having these because I just forget, honestly. But here's my crazy stat. This is nuts. 7 players who have been struck out by Nolan Ryan had sons who grew up to be struck out by Nolan Ryan.
That's a good plug for that new documentary of his on Netflix.
And I didn't even know that, and that's probably why prices seem a little inflated. But this is a cool enough stat to where I might start PCing Nolan Ryan. The Ryan Express was always a pitcher that I watched growing up. The most fun you could ever have watching baseball is to watch Nolan Ryan throw one high and tight, and then the next pitch throw a curveball right in the same position and watch a grown man buckle. It's so fun. It's crazy how he would do that, and it was so entertaining. And he was he played the game the way it was supposed to be played.
Have you seen? It's over on Netflix. The documentary called "Facing Nolan."
No,
is what it's called. You should watch. I think it's like an hour-long documentary about his life and his career. It's pretty awesome. Like,
no,
I'm not even a Nolan Ryan fan. I started watching it, and I was like, "This is awesome."
Yeah, but right now we're elbow deep in this show called Alone. It's taken over our lives. I have to tell you about it in the next episode.
Service? Nope. TV and movie.
It's on Hulu. We'll talk about it next time. Josh, do you have any closing parting shots for those of you guys who have tuned in?
Couple spots left in our division break of Spectra. Remember, you'll get an entire division. There's only going to be 8 participants because there's 8 divisions. So come see me in the shop. Come drop some cards off to be graded. Go fill that break. Oh, I am going to probably tomorrow. I'll make a post beforehand. I have another Brady rip card, and I'm going to rip that sucker tomorrow if I can get the time live online. So if you want to see me go 0 for 3 with Brady rip cards, tune in tomorrow because I'm probably going to rip another one. So
awesome.
One of these has got to have a good card in it eventually. So
guys, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, leave a review, especially on YouTube. We're trying to grow that channel to the magic is it 1,000 subscribers? So help us do that. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, give us a like and subscribe.
If you don't like us, tell your enemies. We'll bore them to death for an hour.
Absolutely. Josh, always good spending the evening talking shop with you.
Yep.
Guys, we will see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.